get on it.
Alright everyone, and welcome back. It is Still Learning 5's RNA Week 1 show match. I'm still Zeta. Joining me, still I hope Penguin God. It could be an alien that infested his brain and took over his computer, which in fact, it might be. But he'd still have to do color casting. How are you doing, my friend? So, for those of you who don't speak alien, that was I'm doing fantastically, and I should take over both sides of the casting. And I'm going to let him do that right now with his fantastic speech.
Yeah, that's totally what's happening right now.
Okay, have you regained mental faculties from that last insane game and the insane Baron Steel, which blew both of our brains enough to allow alien parasites to invade?
Yeah, fun fact for those that are wondering, the only way that alien parasites can infect your brain is if your mind gets blown by a crazy Baron Steel from a Jin.
Can confirm.
Can confirm. And I did manage to push it out, and I threw it in the garbage. It's just chilling there now. It kind of looks kind of cute, but that's kind of why I don't want to kill it. But we are getting into picks and bans for Game 2 of this best of 2.
And look, the overlay works.
The overlay works.
Hey! I shouldn't be applauding minor things like this. Anyway, besides the point, because we have a Fiora ban, and I think I know why that happened.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear why Fiora got banned in that game. That Fiora split pushing was just insane.
Insane in the membrane.
Yeah, exactly. There was no one person who could answer, and that was the issue. The 4v4 was winning very handily, and they couldn't send. Nobody could change anything about that game other than potentially the Baron making a difference. But even that amazing, absolutely monstrous steal,
it couldn't keep them in. It just
it couldn't
as much as as much as Ty tried, it was all an exercise in futility. I mean, they would need probably 2 or 3 more steals of that nature in order to have come back into this game, and unfortunately for us, they didn't manage to do so, and unfortunately for them, they also didn't manage to do so. But they did manage to secure themselves a Cho'Gath, so we'll see how Worse Than Me does on that. It can flex towards the jungle, but I think in particular Cho'Gath top lane can be incredibly scary towards most of the traditional tops.
Yep. You did see a dominant performance out of Zero to Hero and Just Call Me Frost on very clearly their #1 comfort picks.
Both banned out now.
Yeah, both banned out now. So we'll see what they do. But Just Call Me Frost picking the Ivern and Zero to Hero picking Lulu, I'm assuming for 20 Tyler 20 here. But Caitlyn being left up, and that's a really good pick for Ty here. Caitlyn was banned in the last game, so we'll see if they can pick up a win on this Caitlyn here and tie this series up. Hopefully we get that. It'd be a little bit more fun to watch rather than another blowout. But Janna being hovered again here for Jasper. He didn't have a spectacular performance, but I don't think that Janna was the problem that game. I think the problem was the hyper carry in the top lane of Fiora doing really well, but Blinding Vision getting the Ziggs rather than picking up the Janna for Jasper. Garbage Fire gets to pick up a pick for him, and hopefully it's another Xerath because that's probably one of the only long range poke champions that can match. But
They're
the
going for
COG
Protect the Cog
point,
Comp instead. That's a
oh
We haven't
boy,
seen these in quite some time, and I think it's probably because of the rise of, Jhin and lethality and all of those other things. But when you know the enemy laners, like you know Ziggs is going to be mid, you know Caitlyn's going to be AD, you can pretty much pick a cog with impunity. I mean, there's not much else to say about that.
yep. Blue side would be really smart here to ban out the Orianna, because Red side's probably going to pick this up next. The Orianna would make a really big difference here, and they do ban it. Thank God. If they had picked that up, that would have been the most intense Protect the Cog comp I've ever seen in my life. Between Lulu, Ivern, and Orianna, that's 3 shields, an ult from Lulu, and the Braum ban. The support, we're all getting
Do you
really picked
remember
out
when
here.
Lulu used to be a top laner? Because there were Protect the Cog comps back then that ran Janna, Lulu, Ori. Or no, Karma mid. It was Karma mid.
Yeah.
So Janna,
Um,
Lulu, Karma. And
and
that I mean that's a heck of a lot of shields. So
that
if
is
it
a
can
lot of shields.
if it can pass
And
that, I mean,
with the new Guinsoo's, I think that would be even more potent now. But because of the long ago nerfs to Lulu, it's not really much of an option anymore. Lulu's offensive capabilities aren't what they used to be. But Corzad grabbing the Elise? Question mark. I think it's a placeholder for something. I'm not 100% sure. Um, but with that, um, we're gonna get the support and either the jungler or the top lane pick. Worse than me might be playing Cho'Gath, but one thing Cho'Gath does struggle with is catching up to the enemy team. He is kind of big and clunky, but Freak gonna be getting this Warwick again. Support the last pick for blue side here. Probably picking something tanky, depending on how they feel this game. Um, but with that, I haven't gotten a word about this Elise pick yet. We'll see. Rakan being the pickup for Jasper here. Rakan is really good at being both a peel and an engage support. We'll see what kind of Rakan Jasper likes to play. 20 Tyler 20 picking. The last pick here is Hovering Echo. And we'll see if they actually lock it in. I'm still really confused about this Ivern pick. Maybe it's entirely possible that it's an Elise top, and that's the only the only idea that I can think of, other than oh no, it's an Elise mid. This is interesting.
I mean, so the thing is, I've actually played Elise top lane. This was what I was expecting, right? So Elise top lane, you can actually play it top just like you can play it AD carry. So you play it in a static bruiser style AD carry or top. It plays the exact same. If you get the Trinity Force first, you can actually proc and do an incredible amount of damage in your spider form because her W is an attack speed steroid. So what happens is once you proc Q to close the distance, you auto once, proc your W, and just start ripping people to shreds. So you can combine that with such things as Ravenous Hydra or a Bork or any other number of on-hit effects and actually get a surprising amount of damage and CC for yourself as you go through these team fights. But keep in mind, it is still in Elise top lane. It is not a guaranteed win. It's not even close to a guaranteed win. You have to play it incredibly well and know the champion's ins and outs in an AD scenario.
You really do, and you're letting against a Cho'Gath here, which I think is going to be really tough for Elise because her Spider Form Q is an execute, and that's going to be pretty hard to pull off against Cho'Gath, who just has that passive I gain HP and mana whenever I kill a minion.
Yeah, and
It's
he also has the problem of being incredibly CC heavy, and Elise in particular, when played AD, is a melee form AD. In the ranged form, she doesn't do as much damage. She's not as good because she doesn't have the steroid or the gap closer or the escape that removes her from the area. So when played AD, I mean, he has the wave clear, he has the slows, he has the AoE, he has the HP stacking. It's almost the worst matchup you could ask for.
it's going to be pretty tough for Elise, and what I think is going to be funny is if Worst Enemy tries to eat one of the elite spiders, and Zero to Hero just says, no, I'm a transform now, and you can't have that. You can actually, if you do it at the right time, you can deny a feast stack and put the ability on cooldown. It's absolutely insanely hard to do, but it's possible, and I want to see if Zero to Hero can do that.
However, I gotta ask, you said you liked their composition last time. Is it better this time, or was this, still a matter of just picking, comfort champions on the side of TEH?
I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see how this comp does. We did get word from Jarsa that the Elise was actually a placeholder, but they decided to go with it. So
Nice.
the Elise pick
Nice.
was originally a placeholder, but they said, okay, well, we're going to roll with it. And now Zero to Hero is playing Elise top.
So
So
the
it
thing
was,
is, we've actually gotten in this scenario before, especially in Learning Fives. My team in particular got in the problem of we were planning on doing a placeholder pick with the Camille, but we ended up just playing it because we were like, we don't really want to restart Champion Select because it takes too long, and
yeah.
so we ended up playing more Camille mid. And I used to actually main that, so it didn't work out, too terribly. But I've looked through Zero to Hero's match history while we've been talking, and I do not see any Elise top anywhere in his match history that I can find. So, unlike my experiences where you could look back and you can see, oh, it was a couple months back, but he was actually Camille mid main, I have no idea how he's going to do on this pick.
We'll see. We'll see. Zero to Hero is pretty well known for being a troll and playing things like Jin Jungle, but um, we'll see how it works. You never know. It could absolutely stomp the Cho'Gath. Could be a new meta that we pull out here in Learning Fives, but we'll see because we're about to get
I'd
the
hope
loading
not.
screen here. I
If this
severely
becomes
hope
the new
not.
meta, I think I'd have to take a break from League. I think
Yeah, I think I would
everything
too.
I knew about the meta and how it evolves, I just have to take a break because it means that I could have been defining the meta all this time, and all I had to do was get people to notice the fact that I was breaking it. That's it.
Yeah, like do you remember a case I think it was like 3 or 4 months back, where this guy was a new support main, but instead of staying in lane, he basically
He
abandoned
would
his
counter
lane and
jungle. Yep, I
counter
remember
jungle
the
all the time.
exact thing, and the problem
He got
was the
banned
entire
for it.
community had it out for him because, they were like, well, this guy's pretty much trolling. And so when they would report him, right, took a look and they said, yeah, he's obviously trolling, let's ban him because they didn't take a look at his win percentages. They didn't take a look at the effectiveness of such an unorthodox playstyle. And unfortunately, they've adopted the position of doing it on a sort of skill basis. Like if you play something off meta and it doesn't work out, they don't really reward you for it. They in fact
Yeah,
almost punish you. So
I think the position they took was primarily one of, if you're playing an off meta pick and it works and you're doing it not to troll, but to actually, like, you know the advantages and disadvantages of it and you're doing it anyway and you're attempting to win. Like that's the biggest thing, is if you're actually trying to win, that's where they side with you on that. But if that player had been doing it just to troll and
but the
trolls in
problem
a lot
is,
of his
right,
games but ends up winning, then they would have banned him.
there's another case that came up just after that. Do you remember the Singed support that actually did
Yes.
get banned and Riot said no, you're not getting unbanned?
Yeah.
So
Um,
the problem is, as a case by case basis, especially for off meta and players like myself who love to play off meta, I've been reported probably more times than I can count. I don't get the reports, of course, because I haven't been banned for it, but for playing off meta. And it doesn't always work. Sometimes my Camille mid I feed. Sometimes, on the Elise ADC I fed. But it works enough at the time that I have a positive win rate, that I had like a good advantage even in a platinum or high platinum or diamond setting. So to say that people are evaluated on a case by case basis, I think it's a little disingenuous because you also have to have success in order to make it work. You can't just, have fun while you're playing it.
yep. And I think that's the issue with Riot's problem solving here, is they aren't consistent, and I think that's their biggest issue. But this is not a stream about complaining about Riot. This is a stream about learning five show matches. So we'll start talking about the game now rather than complaining about Riot, because that's way too easy
It's
to do.
not complaints, it's constructive criticism. If it had a
Yes,
consistent framework for evaluating things, it wouldn't be an issue. But
that's true.
besides the point. I also love the fact that, in Dota you can play one hero 6 ways in
Yeah.
one match, and that's fantastic. But this isn't a Dota stream, this is a League stream. We're back into it with TCC versus TEH, and TCC, after a very convincing Game 1 win, now have switched to an extremely unorthodox Protect the Kog'Maw composition. And, well, we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, we'll see how it pans out. The Elise pick was originally a placeholder, but we're seeing it actually played. Zero to Hero just saying, alright, screw it, give it to me, I don't care. And according to Jar said, they're boosted monkeys, so we're just going to go with it. That being said, Elise can hopefully use her range in that top lane to at least auto-attack and poke out this Cho'Gath, but Cho'Gath can honestly just eat the auto-attacks and kill minions and do it, but we'll see how this goes here for the Warwick
here in
gang.
the backside, though. Freak has already made himself known. The stun, not quick enough. Garbage Fire flashing into his own stun circle and to his demise as Blinding Vision escapes with his life.
That was quite unfortunate. It's pretty difficult to time that perfectly sometimes, and he was honestly just a split second off from surviving and getting out of there alive, or at least making it difficult for Freak to kill him. But Freak does grab that early kill. Just Call Me Frost goes back and buys a Rejuve Bead and 3 Fairy Charms. Little excessive there, friend, but we'll see how that works out for him. Garbage Fire grabbing an Amp Tome for himself. You already see CS leads going in each lane, in each role. Ivern obviously is going to have a CS lead over Warwick just because it's how Ivern works. He gets those free clears on those camps. But bot lane is extremely even right now. There is a 1 CS difference. It's about to be evened up pretty quick. The waves here are pretty unbalanced, so there's almost basically no lead for the bot lane. And that's really unfortunate for this Kog'Maw Lulu lane because they do have a lot of poke, and you can already see Caitlyn being really low in this lane. Hopefully they can win out of this lane with a little bit of help from the jungler, but Ivern only provides that nice little route there, but that could be enough if they get it right on that Caitlyn. So we'll see if they play around that well enough and get the Ivern down there. But Ivern is roaming top lane.
And if he gets top, he might be able to start something with this Elise worse than me. Actually, in the mid lane, though, Garbage Fire so low right now. Does get the stun, does not get the third proc, and dodges out the bomb. Flash forward by the Ziggs. Actually finished that off. Blinding Vision just comes out of the blind side, kills Garbage Fire straight up. Didn't need to use his flash earlier to do so. And, I mean, that's the problem, right? If you're Echo, you got to make sure you land your passive. Your passive is how you're mobile. Your passive is how you get the damage done. And because he didn't, finds himself on the wrong end of another auto attack and an enhanced one at that. But the engage is coming out bot lane. Korzad, not sure if he's actually going to be in any danger as he's not. The Warwick pops it back to safety.
Yep, that was really unfortunate. Garbage Fire Xerath was available this game, but he picks the Echo anyway, knowing that it was a Ziggs. Echo historically has a bad matchup against Ziggs, primarily because if Echo goes on Ziggs, Ziggs can just throw a bomb towards the place where he can place his minefield and his bomb right on himself. So either Echo does damage to him and he takes a lot of damage in return, or gets Echo to go somewhere else. And that's really good for Ziggs because Ziggs doesn't do well in a lane where he just keeps getting assassinated and poked out really easily. Echo is also known for having a lot of wave clear with that Q, and we'll see if he can use it to his advantage against this extremely push heavy Ziggs. But I honestly think he would have done better on his Xerath here. Just having that super safe lane, that super farm lane, where he can out-push his Ziggs is going to be really important. He does currently have more CS, but that's going to be pretty tough to maintain.
Yeah, and especially when you consider the damage coming out in this bot lane. They're just... you thought that it was going to be an aggressive, sort of Lulu Cog focused lane. They have a lot of poke, but Caitlyn's not shy of poke either. And the fact is that because Rakan can actually sustain a little bit, it looks like they're actually in the better of these very short trades because they haven't been poked out for an extended period of time. They're allowed to refresh, reset, and that means that they don't take all of the damage at once. They can actually break it up into pieces, just like they're trying to break up this Echo, but they don't actually manage to do so. Three members spent their time towards the mid lane for nothing gained.
Yep, that was kind of unfortunate that they just didn't get a kill there, but they do relieve a little bit of the pressure. And now that Echo is 6, it's going to be difficult for Ziggs to really land his full combo. A lot of Ziggs' power comes from the surprise one-shot factor that he can do, and it's going to be hard for him to outplay with this Echo ult and deal enough damage to really make him warrant doing that ult and trying to kill him and protecting himself all at the same time. But the biggest thing you can do is try and land these Qs and try and get a lot of poke damage onto this Echo so Echo just doesn't feel comfortable going in. But as you mentioned, bot lane, this Caitlyn is going to just do a lot of damage with these auto attacks. With Kog'Maw's W, he does slightly outrange Caitlyn in a sense, but that's only when that ability is active, and that is not all the time, and that does affect the lane very much, because Caitlyn can use those windows to get some auto attacks in, and as you said, Rakan does have that sustain from that heal, and that is clearly making a difference, since both bot lanes are at full health basically all the time, unless poke like that happens, and it just goes right through the Lulu shield.
And in this case, I think, because of the fact that, they have a winning bot lane, the top lane is more than likely going to be winning because it is Cho'Gath versus Annalise. And the mid lane is actually losing in CS but winning in XP because of that early kill. It's looking rather good for the Event Horizon. They've finally got themselves some winning lanes. Granted, it is a Kog'Maw comp. This is designed to scale, so they'll have to put some damage out later. But, I mean, all in all, where would you place their chances compared to the last game? Because, I mean, the Xerath, it isn't punishing mid. They've got a good mid, good top, good bot lane.
Yeah, their chances are a lot lower than the first game. We'll see if they can utilize this.
No, TEH is
Oh,
blue.
TH is sorry. Their chances are a lot higher this game, primarily because they have that easy wave clear with Ziggs, that easy engage with Warwick, and just Caitlyn as a champion. Like, you can see here, they're just trading really heavily and coming out on top almost every time. And there's almost nothing that a Kog'Maw Lulu lane can do at this point. They have the early advantage there, but that's just not going to happen anymore.
0 to hero in the top lane with the red buff, actually. The Ivern red buff is doing quite well now. Gets the stun off. He could think about queuing in, but the flash is forward. Worse than me. Wants a piece of this. Does he actually engage? He actually repels early and finds his demise at the hands of the metal monster. That consumed the smite, if you will, for champions is just too powerful. If you're repelling early, you gotta be very mindful of the damage it can evidently put out. And unfortunately for him, did not respect it well enough as he does go down.
If he does fall there to that Cho'Gath's dueling potential is really strong early on, especially level 6, but going in again on this Rakan here.
Don't think they're going to
really
get much out of it. It's just
Yeah.
it's just time and pressure, right? It's just making the Kog'Maw scared to actually aggress. But, I mean, that is valuable. That is mental pressure and possibly going to give them an easier time in lane just because people will be more scared to aggress. Morello's start on... Actually, this is curious. The Morello start on Echo, because traditionally, and in pro play, you will always start with a Proto Belt, because Proto Belt gives you not only an additional movement tool to catch up to people, but it gives you health and burst damage with the Revolver in the early game. Those are two things that you desperately need on early game Echo, so to see him go for Morello, yes, he is behind, but it's not by much. Signals that he wants to go for a scale as well. He wants to get a much more late game focused build rather than focusing at all on this early game.
It might also be a carryover from playing long range mages, like the Ziggs and the Xerath, who almost always build Morellos first. He may not entirely be familiar with this Echo, but we'll see if that makes a huge difference. Protobelt does help you in basically every situation that Echo wants to be in, but maybe he's just trying to get that mana regen, but getting poked out really hard in this lane really.
See, that's the problem, because in Echo, right, and in Echo lanes, especially against control mages, by the way, the only reason I'm expounding on all of this, even though I'm play-by-play, guys, is because I am a hard Echo main. So, the only reason that this Echo should be going Proto Belt, I think, is because it's a control mage. You need to be aggressive, you need to be comfortable. And so, as Penguin said, if he's not comfortable, it is a much safer build to go. But then again, so is that... Oh, engage, coming out, doesn't get the third auto, and here comes the reply flashing away. Ziggs still has bomb, but he doesn't have mana to use it.
Yeah, it's tough for Echo in this lane. You saw that gank going on by Jasper on this Rakan, using that using the quickness to try and get the CC on this Echo, but it's just not going to happen. Echo way too mobile, but he burns his ultimate and his flash to get out of that, which was smart of him to try and get out, and it makes it so that he can still farm up, clear some waves, and go back really quickly. But you can see CS leads in the top lane and the bottom lane, about 20 CS in each lane, pretty tough. Zero to Hero looking like he's going with this AD Elise build. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with how strong AD Elise is, so I can't really comment on that. But
The Bork is, it's the traditional item of starting if you aren't going to engage. Actually coming out in the bot lane, Jasper
God,
already dropping very low, has to flash, heal burned as well by Ty, so no summoners on either of them for those two. Still have Exhaust to play with, but against the full stack summoners from the side of TCC, they might not want to risk the full engage. Just Call Me Frost could be getting caught in this roam pair. I mean, the worse than me freak roam pair could be so deadly if they find their mark, and they might do it here. CC starting to land. Ivern flashing away very curiously when you know that the third auto is coming up from Daisy, but Daisy is now down. Worse than me is over to the side, and they're trying to trap in Freak Warwick, finding himself in a lot of trouble now as he actually is brought down. Garbage Fire to secure that one. And on the Echo, he gets his first kill of this game.
that's really important for him because he's not too far behind now in this lane. Their gold is going to be really even. Ziggs is only about 200 gold ahead because of that one assist that he has. The CS is really even. That's also really important for Zero to Hero to get that assist. It's an extra couple hundred gold in his pocket. And that's really going to matter because he's almost 30 CS down in this lane now. It's hard for him to do much in this lane when Cho'Gath can just sustain through it. And he's trying to go for that Blade of the Ruin King to try and melt down some of this Cho'Gath's health, but it's just going to be so hard for him to do anything in this lane. He just
The
gets
problem
down
is,
and out
I
of
really
game.
think the problem is he doesn't know the power of that Spider Form. And the Spider
Yeah.
Form in particular is the real reason that AD Elise works at all. Oh, actually recalls directly onto Blinding Vision, a really great recall, but it doesn't do enough damage. Actually, curious that he used the E early, given that he could have given chase had he saved it, but again, showing that he might not be completely comfortable on the champion right now.
Yeah, that parallel convergence is such a good offensive tool that people sometimes forget to use on this Echo. So many people use it as a defensive tool because they think, okay, it's a really big shield, I need to use it defensively.
Technically, it
but
was defensive and offensive, though. Got him out of the ultimate and let him re-engage. So some people, even unwittingly, might use it offensively.
Exactly. But there, he could have been a little more aggressive, might have been able to get the kill if he could have dodged out some abilities from the 6, but decides to play it safe, not give over a kill for free, just in case he messes it up. That is a smart decision by him, but does almost get the kill on Blinding Vision there. We'll see if he can reinstate his dominance in this lane to try and get some wave clear off now that he has that Morello's. That's a lot more damage than you would expect, especially now that he has those tier 2 penetration boots. Caitlyn just went back and purchased her for the edge, though. That's a really big pickup for her. Those crits are going to be hitting like a truck. Caitlyn's going to be absolutely massive at this point. 20 CS lead for her. 20 CS lead for this Cho'Gath. This is an easier game for Blue Side to win here, and they're in a lot better position than they were last game. It's going to be way harder for Zero to Hero and company to carry out this game. He did finish his Blade of the Ruin King, which could help him with his Cho'Gath, but Cho'Gath is coming mid.
Dodging out the Rupture, though, means Echo should be safe for now.
Yeah.
But he does have a lot to worry about. This is a huge amount of Ziggs poke. This is a huge amount of damage. He doesn't have the extra health either from that Proto Belt, so he is an incredibly squishy champion, and being melee range, being in danger of Warwick ganks and all kinds of pressure is so risky as an Echo, and right now Zero to Hero has to deal with Ruptures as well. He actually gets knocked up though, silenced, and Cho'Gath just goes back to munching on minions.
That's really all Cho'Gath needs to do in this lane is just not get all in here. And as you said, Zero to Hero not utilizing this Spider Form very well.
Or at all. I mean, he's very reluctant to go melee range with this Cho'Gath, even though he knows about the attack speed steroid, about, the damage, the execute. He's maxed Q first, which indicates that he's very much about staying in human form. Percent health damage plus the spider second. But you can do Spider first and get that, insane steroid. It is on the same key, the W. But
Yep.
it's all about, comfort with champions. And very, very different story, though, from the last game, right? Fiora, incredibly comfortable, super ready to play. Just like Jasper, he has another champion up his sleeve, but this Kog'Maw is already coming online, and look at this. He's just going to walk straight forward, force the flash out of the Rakan, and doesn't even need to worry about that. Another damage boost coming in from Garbage Fire, but doesn't really want to full engage right now.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the comfort of each player on these champions is vastly different this game. Zero Hero, I don't think is too comfortable on this Elise here. It's pretty clear that with this CS deficit that he's accrued, it's going to be tough for him to do much, and he doesn't understand the limits of the champion as much as other people might. And just coming for us on this Ivern has had little to no pressure. He's just been farming his jungle as much as he can, and now he's even behind in CS to this Warwick.
Granted.
Fire,
That's a lot of things to take into consideration, but it's also a Kog'Maw comp, Eventually, if the Cog gets online, it still does its job, but you take a look here in the top lane, Zero to Hero finally starts to turn, starts to engage with the Elise, but you just can't make much damage stick because he's spent so much time, kiting backwards, building Bork, and not using the attack speed steroid to actually activate it, but Kog'Maw's using his. He's ready to go.
yeah. Now, this is a potentially really, really, really strong mid to late game comp by Red Side here. But with this Kog'Maw not being too far behind, he's only about 20 CS, which is a lot. That's about a kill's worth, but it's a lot better than it could be. It could be
I think that's
way
actually a
worse
bit
than this
more
Kog'Maw.
than a kill at this point. 20-25 CS should be probably upwards of 500 gold.
Yeah, that's about 500 gold. It's about a kill and a half, kill and assist, something like that. A Zero to Hero just getting it.
Already down, annihilated, worse than me, flashed on by Garbage Fire, but he has to go deep under the turret. Pop's ultimate returns to the backside, but will he get out Ivern to safeguard him passage? 1-for-1 trade for top lane, and everybody came for the party.
Yep, that's really good for both teams. Just getting a little bit of extra gold on this Warwick is good. If Warwick can take over the game, then it's tough for any team to face a super fighter Warwick. Warwick just out-sustains and out-damages anyone who is super far behind him. It's tough for anybody to handle that, but getting the kill on the Cho'Gath was really good too, considering he has that feast still up. He could have used it on a minion as he was dying and just gotten a stack before he died. That's one thing that really good Cho'Gath players tend to do, is just use that feast stack on cooldown as fast as they can to get the first 6 stacks and then start using it on anything else. Getting those first 6 stacks that are basically free are really important. It gives you so much HP and so much size that it really makes a huge difference. You can see him there, he just munched on something, I didn't see what, but he munched on a little raptor, it looks like. And looking at him now, it looks like he's got 4 out of his 6 stacks. He could have it fully stacked by now. He could have 6 out of 6 stacks and 1 extra from killing the Elise. So he's about 2 stacks behind where he could be. But that's pretty difficult for every Cho'Gath player to do. It's hard to use that ability on cooldown. It's somewhat difficult to do that, considering it's a really good ability to use during team fights. But holy cow. Garbage Fire getting
That
melted
was
by Warwick there.
I didn't actually have time to react because of how fast he died, but yeah, that was a pop. That was everything at once colliding to bring down an Echo. And
Yeah.
I mean, we can go back a second, take a look, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. It was an insane pop just caused by 3 members grouping up towards this mid lane. Fear is actually already used by Freak, so he doesn't actually want to commit onto this Elise. Very curious, given that she has an extremely squishy build and that he does a lot of damage with the Tiamat Cinderhulk Warwick. Already, he should be prepped and ready to do this, but Ziggs just content to take turrets. TEH, I mean, this is what they want to do, but here comes the quickness, charmed up too, looking to force flashes, and they do. 2 of them already having been used. Rupture lines onto Lulu, but can they get anything more? They cannot. Worse than me. Starts to back off and disengage, but now Kog'Maw could be under fire in the bot lane. The rotations could come out.
Yeah, we'll see if these rotations do a whole lot, but Lulu getting caught here.
Again,
Just gonna get
20 Tyler 20 is just finding himself in a lot of very undesirable situations with some very, very scary members as the Cho'Gath is chasing them back towards the turret, forcing out the TP. Zero to Hero. What can he do, though? He's an AD Elise. He can throw out the stun, and he does land it. The net brings down Jasper, and now, worse than me, he's stunned up and brought down Garbage Fire, had made the rotation. A brilliant play by him, and finally TCC answer back, but TEH definitely not out of the running yet.
Yep, that was just a classic case of staying a little bit too long. They had gotten the flashes mid, and they should have just backed off, gotten vision control, and rotated bot lane to grab that tower. It's pretty clear that Ziggs' satchel charge is super good at clearing towers, and his passive is super good at clearing towers. So they need to start playing around this a little bit more, get wave pressure and vision control more, so that they can just send the Ziggs to literally any lane of the tower and destroy said tower. That's something they need to play around a lot better. There's so much pressure that the Ziggs has over basically every member of the enemy team because he just takes towers so abnormally fast, and especially if he builds a Lich Bane after his Luden's Echo, which I'm assuming is what he's building next. Pretty sure that either Wisp is going to a Luden's Echo rather than, a Redemption. But you never know. These teams can get pretty memey sometimes, but we'll see. But this Ziggs just needs to get sent to towers, but we see another engage.
Oh, another collapsed blinding vision, trying to finish off Korzat. Does throw out the ultimate. The combo might bring him down. Actually shielded up. Ivern saves him out. Flash in though. The last bouncing bomb secures Korzat. Does not get the second kill, but 20 Tyler 20 manages to make his way out of that fight, and split pushing in the mid lane is this Echo. He has not brought down the turret yet, as the shove comes into the top side, and Zero to Hero finally using his spider form and causing quite a bit of damage to the Cho'Gath actually.
Yeah, that was a really good engage by blue side there. They knew their limits, and they knew that they could get that kill and get the tower immediately after. But they're going to be pushing for a second tower with Ziggs. You see it getting really low down there. Ziggs are just going to be able to satchel charge it and make it go down, but Cho'Gath getting really low here.
He is getting low. He's almost going to drop very close to it, but has the stone plate active and saves himself from that as the Ziggs tries to waddle to catch up with his teammates. The short stubby legs carrying him over to this Infernal Dragon, their second of the game, and TEH, I mean, if you're talking about scaling, double Infernal, definitely the way to go.
Just imagine if Red Side had gotten those two Infernals and Kog'Maw having two Infernal Drakes under his belt. That would have been intense. That would have been absolutely insane for them to get. But Caitlyn and Ziggs with two Infernal Drakes is going to be absolutely bonkers. The Ziggs already able to clear out caster minions at this point. He's going to be able to clear out those melee minions very soon as well. He's going to get his Luden's Echo. He's going to be able to throw his Minefield on the casters and throw his bouncing bomb on the melees. But Zero to Hero getting caught again here.
And he should be going down. I don't think there's a single way he gets out of this. Yeah, the quickness to charm him up, to bring him into another little delectable buffet for Cho'Gath. I guess it's not a buffet, but it's more a smorgasbord of gold for him. And
it's a spider, it ain't a buffet.
Oh, that's a delicacy somewhere in the world, I bet. Or maybe not. Besides the point, gold is accepted everywhere, and the Elise converted it directly into the banks of the Cho'Gath. I think that's the best result.
I would say so. There's Cho'Gath getting free gold and, even more importantly, a free feast stack, essentially. There was no way Zero to Hero was getting out of that, and it was really smart to just hand over that feast stack over to the Cho'Gath. That is the best way to get the Cho'Gath into a good position, because Cho'Gath does not lose stacks anymore. It's so good for him to just use this feast on cooldown when he can to kill an enemy champion or an epic monster. And he had that chance there, and he got that free stack off of Zero to Hero's Elise. Zero to Hero picking up the Wit's End as well. I don't know, man. This is a tough game for Zero to Hero. He got put on this Elise even though he isn't comfortable on it, and it's in a losing matchup, and his team is memeing him, and he's a sub. It's tough for him.
It's a hard knock life for spiders.
Sure is.
And unfortunately for him, it's not even a pick that works particularly well in this composition. In this protect the Kog'Maw style. I mean, I much would have rather seen. Actually, quickness stopped. Good root caller for that, but still lands the charm onto one. Forces flash from Frost. Very curious there, but blinding vision still throwing out the zoning damage and the AoE spells. Korzot could be caught now. Actually dodges the rupture. The speed up from Lulu. Very important there, but the bomb. Oh my god, the Mega Inferno bomb almost actually brings down more than 1, 2, 3 members chased into this. And here comes TEH. They're just sending their frontliners in. Maybe to their death, though, a little bit too far forward as they're chased out and about. Garbage Fire wants to engage, but what will he do? He'll actually recall away from the fight as Blinding Vision finds himself extremely low, blocked out. Oh, freak. Oh, man, he sacrifices his life for the Ziggs, but at least he's alive. Maybe not for much longer. The Caitlyn falling extremely low, cannot find the last bit of damage though as the ultimates rain down the barrages from Kog'Maw. The artillery is living, but it's livid that it cannot find the targets, and they have to be content with 1 kill and no turrets.
So many low health targets here, only one person going down on that Warwick, giving up his life so that his mid laner can live. What a good doggy he is. But with that, we have 1 kill going over to red side here. It's going to be even better to get them back in the game. They're only about 3,000 gold behind, and blue side not expanding their lead very well, not playing around this Ziggs. The front line decided to just go ham rather than protect their back line, which is what they should have done. There was absolutely no reason to go that ham on the back line other than to maybe get a flash ult from Cho'Gath to kill 20 Tyler 20's Lulu. But even then, that's still not entirely worth it. You're just killing the Lulu, you're not killing the Cho'Gath, you're not doing a whole lot there. And
but he is doing a lot of damage.
He is.
And getting traded on too. I mean, you're talking about dealing damage. Kog'Maw, generally one of the best members at doing that, but he's just getting poked out. I mean, as much as he wants to be the solid core member of this team fight, he can't stay alive through this. He's just getting absolutely annihilated, even with shields and ultimates and all. It's not enough. They needed some kind of a front line, and Elise is not it.
No, Elise is definitely not it. I don't think any of us would have been too sad if we had gotten a placeholder with that Elise. But we'll see how it works out here. This Kog'Maw could very well carry this game. Kog'Maw does deal some of the highest amounts of damage in the game if he can be set free and just be led to auto attack with his W active on. But probably not going to happen with the poke that blue side has, and the Cho'Gath and the Warwick being able to jump on him very easily. He's just going to get zeroed out pretty easily. He's going to have to keep moving is the thing. You only get the max amount of damage out of your actives if you can stand still after getting a lot of attack speed and just auto attack freely and at super high speeds. And Hypersonic Kog'Maw doesn't really happen against such a pokey comp, and it's going to be tough for him to do what he wants to do against this team comp.
It's just, it's a matter of, oh, quickness doesn't actually land though. Very close, but 20 Tyler 20. They're counting his lucky star as he does not go down because he does not get caught, but there's a whole team waiting to follow that up. I mean, if the rupture had landed, if the quickness had landed, any bit of CC would have been a dead Lulu, but for now, I mean, it's all about those little bits of CC, the engage tools, making the proper connections, and so far, TEH, while they have done a good job up until this point, been very, very hesitant to take fights, being rather conservative with their lead, unlike that of TCC, who were willing to risk it all last game.
And I think that's where Blue Side's going to fall off this game. I think they're just going to not press their advantage, not push their lead any more than they have to. And even if they do, I feel like Red Side can take advantage of that. They do have a okay amount of CC, and they do have this Kog'Maw that can take advantage of divers. But Zig's getting... Nope, not getting engaged. Never mind, we're good. Everything is okay. Don't worry about him. But like you said, they're not pushing their advantage much at all. They even lost a tower in the bot lane for literally no reason. Cho'Gath roaming down there, hopefully gonna be able to do something.
I mean, this is what Echo does, right? He's all about the split push. Once he gets the Lich Bane, it's quite easy, but he needs to be able to have a team, you know. They need to be able to apply pressure. If they can't apply pressure, there's no way he can split push against this Cho'Gath in particular, because he just doesn't have the health, he doesn't have the longevity to be able to take trades.
And it all stems from, you guessed it, that first purchase Morelos. That
I
Morelos
think it's
is
a little bit deeper than that. I think it's also the fact that this Cho'Gath is massive and has been
yeah,
gifted basically everything that he wants in lane, including CS, including Omnoms, including, you know... By the way, Omnoms are the colloquial vernacular for champions straight into his mouth. So, in case
yes.
anyone was wondering what that meant.
Yeah. But imagine if Echo could build a Hextech Protobelt here. He'd have that extra HP, he'd have that extra gap closer. Even if he had that instead of a Banshee's Veil, I think that'd be really important because Banshee's Veil isn't going to block a whole lot out. You might block a singular Ziggs bouncing bomb, and that is a couple hundred damage, but you also get a couple hundred health from having a Hextech Protobelt. So I think I completely agree with you on having that Hextech Protobelt rather than either Morelos or Banshee's Veil. I think Lichbane is really important for him, just because it's Lichbane and it does really well on Echo. And I think he really just needs that Hextech Protobelt. He needed that first or second item. He's not going to be able to trade really well with Cho'Gath, his Warwick, and literally anyone that goes against him. The really only hope he has is to go in a side lane where nobody else is, because he can push waves really, really quickly with that Q, and it's hard for anyone to really match that except for maybe Ziggs and Xerath, and maybe they can use it to their advantage. That's a good amount of damage though from this Caitlyn. Caitlyn is still 20 CS up, but getting a lot of damages from auto attacks. Holy cow.
Oh, Charmed in, and there goes the quickness. Actually blocked out. Garbage Fire turns around to protect Zero to Hero, but the chase cannot be continued. There's no way they can actually get onto these members because every time they try, they back off, but they can get onto the turret. This objective does not move, but their wave, where is it? It's back at their own T2. The Cho'Gath, though, he has started this up. He's trying to clear this out, trying to do the damage, flashing the stun, does get away from the parallel convergence, but for now, cannot find himself a kill, cannot find himself an objective either.
Yep, he does push that wave into the tower and does deal almost half its damage, but not finding a whole lot more than that. His team could have easily gotten this tower while he was there, though. I don't see any reason why Rakan didn't just take that while Ziggs and Caitlyn just took it down, but Ziggs does eventually get that tower. Warwick gonna threaten with his glowy eyes there. Cho'Gath is just so good at tanking towers, and he bought a Warmog as well instead of buying a Righteous Glory. I'm not sure about that purchase there. Zero to Hero looking for a flank, but he's just going to ult on the Warwick
Ultimate's
here.
down. Freak forcing out the repel from the Elise, but the Elise charmed up, brought down. They've actually slain a couple members. Blinding Vision very low on mana now, and the Cho'Gath has already fallen. The Kog'Maw is coming online. Tai is the only member left of his team, and in the blink of an eye, TCC, they turn the game on its head.
Holy moly, that fight was insane. That was a 3-for-4, so it wasn't entirely horrible, but it was still pretty bad. That was a really big throw by Blue side there. They lost 4 members because they went a little bit too hard for Zero to Hero's Elise, and that's pretty much all Elise can do at this point. Just be a really big bait, and that's still really good for him because that means they're not focusing on this Kog'Maw at all. Kog'Maw is now 5-1-2. I don't agree with a Wit's End buy. That isn't really what you want to be doing right now. You should have gone Gwynsu's, but that doesn't really matter. Tai going and getting this tower for free, but going to be trading it for the mid lane tower, which is, I'd say, a worthwhile trade.
Yeah, TCC actually could be benefiting off that rather nicely. If they do get the turret, they don't get it, though, in which case it's a great trade for TEH because they lost nothing.
Yeah, they didn't lose that. They didn't lose that in mid-inner, but they get that top tower for free, although free is not entirely accurate because they did lose 4 members, but hopefully we can see them not misplace a team fight like that. That was pretty bad on their part. But that minion wave getting pushed into that tower there deals a couple hundred damage to the tower. Not a big deal. Kog'Maw getting that red buff along with the Ivern. That's such a underrated passive ability for this Ivern. Having double buff spawns, basically, getting a buff on Ivern as well as on a carry is absolutely massive. That doubles the amount of red buffs in the game for one side, essentially. Holy cow, that crit though. That was one crit and one bounce bomb through 2 shields.
Oh, Garbage Fire is actually on the wrong side because
That ain't the side of your base, buddy.
I don't know why he's here, actually. And talk about crits. Spent so much of his health right there, losing it, in fact, to the Caitlyn auto attack. But he didn't burn TP. I didn't burn ultimate. I don't exactly know how he got into that situation, but even now, he's still
He just
dancing
walked
around the
around, I
edges of
think.
this fight, looking for his engage, looking for his opportunity to lay down a brilliant parallel convergence, but so far they have not given him such an option.
So from what I can see, he actually was in the river and looped around towards blue side's red buff and came back around to the tower and then looped all the way around for literally no reason, just to look scary. And that was it. He literally just pulled the team off the tower, and that was the only point to that play. Like, he just walked there. He didn't TP. He didn't try and flank, do anything crazy. But yeah, I'd look back just to make sure that he didn't do anything ridiculous there, like evade vision somehow. But no, he literally walked through a pink ward to do that too. So they should have
That
seen
last fight, though, I mean, you talk about things that literally just, you know, don't make a difference. If you literally stand there and let Kog'Maw sit on the other side of a wall, it doesn't make a difference how bad you are, you know, how much gold you've acquired. You're just letting a Kog'Maw auto attack you. You will lose that fight, you know.
Yeah,
So
you will.
they have
No
to
matter
actually
what
be able to
champion you are.
isolate the Kog'Maw. They have to crack open the base, because if he's given terrain to play around, if he's given, you know, a front line or terrain, basically, a front line is temporary terrain, in a sense, right? That is giving him space to move, space to work with, and if they give him any room, he will take full advantage of it. But they've only given it to him once, so it's not guaranteed for the next time.
It's not. Blue side can play around it if they can pick off one of the laners and poke a hole in this team. They can win this game. You can see that they are in the base. Red side has only got 3 turrets to the 6 of blue sides, and hopefully they can transition that into even further of the lead. Zero to Hero just grabbing that minion wave bot, so they know that they have the man advantage top side, and they're easily going to grab this tower with the Ziggs. Super easy for them to take. Way too good. This Ziggs is just broken. I love Ziggs. And Ziggs are just going to be able to rotate around and grab all these objectives, and love doing it. And Kog'Maw isn't going to be able to do a whole much about it because Ziggs can just throw abilities out.
Stun is down, though. Parallel convergence is onto worse than me. He's actually getting shredded by this Kog'Maw. Corazon absolutely damages him plenty enough to finish this off. Mega Inferno Bomb. It's not enough, but the minefield is they're chasing down, securing the last kill. Actually didn't finish it off, but the Kog'Maw will, and he gets 1, he gets 2, he gets 3, triple kill for him. Almost got blinding vision for the Quadra, but it doesn't matter as of this point because even though the minions are shoving in, I feel like we've been in this scenario before, they're going to go for an objective.
They're going for they're hovering around Elder when there's really no need for it. They're getting scuttled. Why would you go for Elder? You have no dragons. If you're gonna go for a big objective like this, you need to go for Baron and grab that wave control. There's no reason to go for Elder Dragon here at this point. It's not very useful for them. The only reason I can see it is just denying it from blue side since they have 3 dragons. But even then, that's still not the most optimal choice for this team. They're going to get very little power out of it. You can see those flames not very strong, not even taking the blue buff there, and Kog'Maw getting the Gwynsu's Rage Blade as well. He's going to be dealing a lot of damage, especially with his burn, but why would you go for Elder Dragon when Baron is up and you have no dragons? I can understand.
A takeaway. That's the only thing I can think of is the fact that it's a takeaway, because Baron would fall nearly as fast. Granted, because they have no dragons, they deal more damage to Elder, but Baron would fall nearly as fast. It's a Kog'Maw, you know. It's not like it's a Sivir or something where you're wanting for time. It's a Kog'Maw. You give it a little bit of time, it'll take down any objective you want, but Ivern could be finding himself in a load of trouble. Situation is very, very dire as actually Garbage Fire comes in the backside, one-shots, blinding vision, and that's the power of the Echo Assassination. Nation is ready and here. Worse than me now is finding himself in the line of chase, and Echo has to ult out. As they do, though, Korzad is just rolling through them, and the Chad Crushers are living up to their name, just rolling through the composition, and it finally comes to the Baron. 2 versus 5. What can TEH do besides succeed this objective and hope that they can play out a fight?
They just can't get on this Kog'Maw. Echo just kills their backline. Look at that. This Echo is uh, just demolishing everyone. They can't get to this Kog'Maw. They can't leave their backline. The front line of the Warwick and Cho'Gath need to be able to get to this Kog'Maw and just one-shot him, essentially. But they can't leave their backline to get killed by this Echo. Echo's just going to one-shot them with this build. You see how bursty this build is. Lichbane, Rabadons, Morellos, and Banshees is so much AP.
To be fair, though, if the Morellos was a Proto Belt, it would be even more bursty. Because that's actually more damage. But that's besides the point. That's besides the point.
Yeah, that is. But that does reduce the healing out from the blue side characters.
It's true, but I mean, most of them don't really do healing anyway. Like, the Spear Visage and Warmog on the Cho'Gath, you just have to hit him, and the Warmog stops healing. So that's not a huge issue. And the Warwick isn't getting enough autos for it to matter anyway. So besides that, all you're sitting on is a no lifesteal item Caitlyn, a Rakan, and a, Ziggs. So, in fact, I think it's not a big deal to switch over. I mean, the 20% CDR is nice. Don't get me wrong. But Protobelt gives you 10%. 10% is not that big of a step down from 20%. And right now, it looks like he might actually be able to go over the CDR cap if he gets Azania's, because that would put him at 50%. Yes, because 10% Lichbane, 10% from the Banshees, and 20% from the Morello. So, in fact, if he wanted this build, Protobelt would still be better.
Yeah, I'm not arguing the case that Morellos is better than Protobelt. I do fully agree that Protobelt is just a straight up better buy on Echo than Morellos is. I'm just thinking of the possible reasons that he could have for building Morellos. But they do have this Baron buff on for a while longer, and what they need to do is be literally anywhere but mid. What they should go top lane to fight the Super Minion wave as they're pushing out this Baron buff. The battle between Baron buff minions and Super Minions is actually pretty close, but they send this Echo into the side wave while 0 to Hero is basically going to be like the distraction and the cocoon bot. He's really far behind. He's 0, 5, and 8, literally just a bait at this point. But Ivern doing his job. His scoreline is literally what a support wants to see, it being a 0, 0, and 12. He does go the Ardent Sensor build, so he does also get into Fiends. Has that damage, has that heal, has that shield to apply Ardent Sensor onto. But they need to play it smartly. They need to give Kog'Maw the Ardent Sensor passive properly, so they can't put bull shields on him at once, or he loses a lot of that power.
Worse than me. Could be finding himself in a load of trouble, even though he popped that little bit of extra health, extra regen. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference, because this Kog'Maw is just being allowed to run rampant as the members of TEH are actually finding themselves on the wrong side of this event. They're entirely in the mid lane as the Kog'Maw takes their top turret and soon to take the inhibitor afterwards. I mean, talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. This was the entire wrong side of the map, but the Rupture lands, and here comes the quickness. They've actually brought him down. The GA has already been popped, and the Ivern is the next one to fall. Can they bring down Korzad? A second time they do. The shutdown comes from the Caitlyn, and they're going to look for more members. Echo replies to go to the mid lane, but that is all that she wrote. With the Kog'Maw dead, TCC have to back off, and that means TEH are free to go back to shoving mid.
Yeah, this red side team comp, other than the Echo one-shotting backlines, doesn't really have a lot of sustained damage. There's practically no way for them to win fights after the Kog'Maw goes down. That was really bad by Korzad to get caught there. That means that their top lane aggression is literally just stopped, and there's nothing they can do about it. Echo is going to try and get this bot tower in response for that, but there's a TP going onto it. I don't see any way that he's going to get this tower before Cho'Gath gets here, but he might be able to kill him? Question mark. He doesn't have that extra damage, but we'll see.
Ultimate has been used. Warwick is actually right there. I guess he just didn't do enough damage, but surprising given the fact that it was only a Lulu. But even so, Elise doesn't land the cocoon, dodged out by Freak. And they go back. Baron's not up, Dragon's not up, red buff is. It's a small sort of consolation prize for what should have been a much more effective push.
This build by 0 to Hero is absolutely hilarious. He bought a redemption. and he's got Death's Dance just to reduce some of the damage he takes, Blade of the Ruin King and a Wit's End to try and get some damage out, but like I think when you realized that you were going to lose lane, you should have just gone tank, uh, or like redemption tank, just because you know that you're not gonna win this lane, and you're not gonna win this game unless you have an impact. And right now, the only impact he's gonna be having is as a Cocoon bot.
I mean, the redemption though is I think that's hilarious. Like it's so funny that he has built Death's Dance, Bork, Wits End, Redemption, Quickness stopped up actually, but the ultimate is not from Warwick. They actually get that in, and they knock up the Lulu on the backside. Ty has taken down one member. Now all that remains is 4 more between them and a game 2 victory. Garbage Fire still shoving out this top though. He will get the inhibitor before anyone else responds, and that means that they need to answer. They need to get an inhibitor of their own. While Garbage Fire goes for this Nexus turret, Cho'Gath closing in on him is already here. Should stop this its tracks or not. The damage is so insane. Garbage Fire has all of it on the Lich Bane. He might even be able to do more than this. Worse than me. Still fighting this out. Still doing the damage. Still looking for this engage. For the kill. Rupture does not land. The Convergence does not land. And worse than me, cannot find this Echo. But he does stop the second turret take. Unfortunately for them, they lose an inhibitor as TCC find themselves at the wrong side of 4 members because of Zero to Hero's absence from the fight.
While Zero to Hero isn't much of a factor in this game, he is still a member on this team, and he is a body that can literally stand in front of the Kog'Maw. That is one advantage that he has in this game, and he has that redemption. So it's not like he just literally isn't there. It's not like he isn't a member on this team. So going down there did lose them, the inhibs, but Echo grabbing that inhib at the top and a Nexus Tower is really important, but he also doesn't grab the second inhib, which I think he could have done. He could have played with fire a little bit, risked it a little bit, and gotten that, primarily because Cho'Gath isn't going to be able to one-shot you really well, and you can just dance around the Cho'Gath, not use your Lich Bane procs on Cho'Gath, instead use them for your phase dive, and basically two-shot the inhibitor. He can easily have gotten that to get some minions matching in the mid, and hopefully gotten some pressure matching rather than being slightly behind in pressure. Now blue side's going to have priority on this Baron because of that. Blue side's going to get their rewards down, hopefully grab this Baron, and they can end the game that way.
Oh
my
catch on to Tyler,
God.
Rupture lands. That should be a dead Lulu. In fact, it is. The ultimate could be Quickness in onto the Kog'Maw, and that could be it. Game, set, and match might have just been called. Call Me Frost is the next one to get brought down. A double kill for the Caitlyn, and this is the beginning of the end. The fight entirely in the favor of the Event Horizon, and they start to make their way into the base. TCC, what stands between them and a loss? It's 2 members, both recalling now, but will they have the time?
I don't think so. Blue side's got a super minion and a melee minion here, and they can easily just take this tower up.
That's
with
one
Ziggs
turret.
and Cho'Gath. It's so easy.
And they're charming up to Garbage Fire, recalls into base, even with that rewind. I'm not sure what they can do. The ultimate is down, he flashes out, still goes down, and this is the end of Zero to Hero, and the end of the game. They even it up, and the Showmatch goes 1 for 1. The Protect the Kog'Maw comp could not best the damage and the CC from TEH.
That was a really well played game. It was tough for Red Side to do anything except for protect the Kog'Maw, and members getting caught over and over again is really tough. That was a rough game all around. Maybe they won't just say screw it and have an Elise top lane next time.
Well, even with the Elise top, they did play their hearts out, and they did pick up a Game 1 victory, but TCC, I mean, you gotta wonder what could have been if that had been a Galio pick, if that had been, some other top laner. But unfortunately for them, it was not. And that will be the end of our show matches for tonight. The NA Week 1 show match is over. Thank you all very much for watching, and be sure to follow us on Learning Fives at Twitch if you want more of these show matches. If you want to get involved, head out to our links in the description of our Twitch should be there for us to show you what's up, and the next season starting up probably in about 4.5 weeks if you want to get involved. But thank you all very much for watching, and good night.
Good night.